in Australia, and welcome to my weekly online class to go. So for anyone who is new either to my Facebook page or YouTube channel, each week as part of my live video I offer an online class. So we make 3 cards using a featured either stamp set or stamp and die or stamp and punch bundle. And if for anyone who places an order of $75 or more, and that's before shipping and after Stampin' Rewards redemption, by the end of Saturday night, I will send you the kits to make 2 each of the 3 cards from that week's class. So for this week, the featured bundle that I'm using is the Greenery Lane bundle. And I will just switch my camera around. So this is the bundle. So this is the stamp set. You've got a few different sentiments, and then you've got a selection of different leaves. This is a two-step stamping set. Bit of a mouthful, but you can always, if you don't like 2-step stamping, you can always color in the leaves with your blends or watercolor pencils, whatever you prefer. And then the dies, so the dies cut out all of the leaves in the stamp set, and then you've also got an extra one that you don't need to stamp with, so you can just die cut that one on its own. Alrighty, so let's move that out of the way, and here are the 3 cards for tonight's class. So the first one uses just the stamp set. It's got some separate dies, but not any from the bundle, and then the next 2 do use the dies as well. So we will start with this one. So I'm using Old Olive for the base, and the first thing we need to do with the base is just cut 2.5 centimeters off the end. And also for anyone who does place an order and to get the kits, you will also receive a PDF tutorial, so you get the written tutorials for all of the cards. So we'll just cut that end bit off. We put that aside for another project. So put that to the side, and then we need some designer series paper. So that's it's also Old Olive. We have the basic white for the insert, and then I've just got some basic white stylish shapes squares, and some Old Olive squares, and then the sentiment label. This is from the perennial postage dies. So we will do the stamping, and given it's 2-step stamping, hopefully I don't mess it up. I'll start with the sentiment. So we're just using Old Olive ink. So this one is all Old Olive. So I'm just using the thank you sentiment for this one. There we go, there's that one. And now to see if I can do these live without screwing them up. Alrighty, so for these we're going to stamp the outline full strength, and then the fill we're going to stamp off. And so for each one we're just going to come in from the corner. So for this large one in particular, you're not going to fit the whole thing in the square, but that's what we want. And then, so we'll ink this up, stamp off, and I'm just going to bring it a little closer to me, just so that with 2-step stamping it's a little easier if you are right over it when you're looking at it. It's a bit easier to line up. and if I have it too far forward, you're just going to get a view of the top of my head, and hopefully I've got this about right. And this is one where it doesn't necessarily fit perfectly, so if you're outside the lines, as I am a bit here, it doesn't really matter too much. It's not one that actually fits perfectly. Sometimes it does, almost, but it's not a, it's not an exact fit. It doesn't really matter too much if it's not, wrong one, not meant to stamp off the outline. Full strength for the outline, and make sure I get the right feel. And I'll just bring it a little closer. And I forgot to stamp off. Oh well. Too bad. That one I can't undo. If I had stamped off when I shouldn't, then I could always try and stamp over, but not going to work for this one. But what I will do is when we layer them or line them up, I'll put that one in the middle, so then you've got stamped off ones on either side and the darker one in the middle, and then it won't look quite so odd. And there we go. So there is that one. So that's all the stamping done. If I had a spare one of these cut, I would probably re-stamp, but I don't. So we will make do. We will just adjust the design. And there is nothing wrong with doing that. And I think that's right. I need new glue. I have some more. Alright, let's try again. Spread this one out because it's spread it out far too much without even squeezing it. So let's just spread that out a bit rather than having even more than I would normally use. And I do normally use a lot, but that's even too much for me. All right. There's that one. And while I'm sticking all these together, just a reminder, the project recipe for last week's Thursday Tech class is coming out in tomorrow's email. So if you're not on my email list, make sure you head over to handmadeafterdark.com.au, sign up to my email list. Make sure you do it tonight so that you can get that project recipe when the email comes out first thing tomorrow morning. And then this Friday night is Funfold Friday, so there will be the project recipe card for that next week. All right, let's get this together. So this is a nice, easy layout to do. I actually decided on this. I had another card I had made years ago with the same layout, but obviously different stamp set, and I just decided that I wanted to use it again, so I did. Alright, so we just need to decide on the layout. Now, so this one's going in the middle. Or I could do that one from that side. What do you reckon? We go that way? Yeah, let's go that way. Alright, let's line these up. So you just want a bit of overhang on these and try and keep it even between the layers, and we just need to make sure this is going to be very close, so it will, and we'll pop this one up on dimensionals, but you want to line this one up with, it'll be right on the edge of the DSP, possibly overhanging slightly. Just make sure it doesn't go over the score line. So then we just need to, that will then determine how far in these pieces can come, and then we can line up everything. So I think that's pretty good. Let's get these down. Just be careful, make sure you don't add glue on the overhanging part. If you do, just grab your embossing buddy, so to try and mop up any excess adhesive if you can, just with a cloth, but then go over it with your embossing buddy, and that will take the sticky away from it, so your card's not going to stick together when you close it. It's a very, very handy tip with that, because I think we've all done it where we've put adhesive where we don't want it, and yeah, being able to rescue that is very, very useful, especially when it's, you know, one of the last things you put down on your project and you mess it up. You want to be able to save it, so your embossing buddy will do that for you. Alrighty, last one. And I'm just going to adjust slightly. I've still got enough time to just adjust and get the gap a bit more even. Alrighty, all that is left now is to pop up this on some dimensionals, and then add the insert and add some embellishments, and this one is done. Alrighty, so that's gonna just overhang the paper slightly. Let's straighten it up a bit. Come on, there we go. That's a bit better. Now, we shall stick the insert down. Then, and I think, oh, it's even enough. That's close enough. If you find that it's not even enough and it annoys you and you want to adjust it, you can heat the section that you want to move, and with your heat tool, and that will help sort of soften the adhesive and allow you to adjust it. And let's actually give that a go, because this one is going to bug me. So I'm just going to use heat setting 1, and we'll see if that's enough to start with. So just want to get that adhesive sort of loosened up a bit. You can also, once you've started to heat it, if you've got dental floss, particularly if you need to completely move something, you can then get dental floss, slide it underneath, and that will sort of help lift it off and you can move it. Alright, let's see if that's enough or if it needs a bit more. I'm going to grab, where is it? There it is. I'm just going to, oops, not that one. So I can get this one under. Slide that under. And you may need to add a little bit more heat. You may be able to sort of get it slightly up, and then just need to just give it a little bit more heat. Just be careful that you don't tear your cardstock, particularly if you're doing it this way rather than with the dental floss. I'm just going to bring this back towards me slightly so I can, so I've got a better grip. Alright, that is going to have to do. I've got it back ever so slightly. I don't have any dental floss in here with me, otherwise I would absolutely do that, but I think I got enough. Oh, there we go. It's moving a bit more now. That will do. Alrighty, let's grab embellishment. So I'm using the antique pearls for this one. I'm going to use the medium and small ones for this. And put another one up there. That will do for this one. If I can get it back in the packet. Alrighty, there we go. Card number 1. Alrighty, let's move on. So this is the second one. So we're using a basic white card base, and then I have embossed some Mossy Meadow cardstock with the Gathering Leaves embossing folder, and then I have some of the, what is the name of it? Hang on. I've got it in the, usually have it next to me, but Splendid Autumn. That's the one. So a little bit of that, and then I have pre-stamped and die cut all the pieces here, so you don't have to sit and watch me do that. And I've well, no, I think I know the next card I've got far more than I need, so I have stamped and die cut, and these ones are in Mossy Meadow, and I did the same thing where I stamped the outline full strength and then the inside was stamped off. This one is one of the solid, I'll just get all those little bits out, the leaf, and then this is the one that you don't need to stamp, so it just die cuts on its own, and I used the two-tone cardstock for this one. So the good thing with this one is, particularly if you're doing multiples, you can have different shades from the one piece. I would, and I haven't done it for any of mine because I was using two-tone and using both sides, but I do recommend using adhesive sheets, particularly for these ones if you can, just because otherwise you've got lots of very fine bits to add adhesive to. If you've got adhesive sheets, it makes it a lot quicker. So put those to the side. Let's do the stamping first. Let's get that done. So Mossy Meadow for this one, and then where is my sentiment? There it is. So we're just going center-ish. Okay. So put that to the side for the moment. So for this, what we're going to do is, so we want this side of the paper and obviously the embossed side, so we're going to flip it over and line it up and then use tear and tape to join it together. And oh, what's going on? Let's just check. Nope, all good. Sorry, my computer was being a bit difficult. It's all good. All right, so you want to line this up. I do recommend holding it when you put particularly the first bit of tape on, especially as with the embossed one, it's going to sit a little bit higher, so you want to make sure that your pieces stay aligned when you add the tape. So we'll just add a few pieces along. I'm going to add another one in the middle there, well, middle-ish, just to make sure. And then, and I've done that the wrong way around. That was smart. But what I can do, because it will be fine, I can, because I haven't stuck it down too hard and this is going on the back, so it doesn't matter too much. Now, let me just make sure I've got everything the right way this time. That's better, so we want it this way, so I'm not too fussed if it tears a little bit on the back because no one's going to see it, as long as it doesn't tear all the way. And if it was starting to tear or you weren't confident in taking it off and adjusting it, I would just cut off at the edge there and just add more over the join. But in this case, it looks like it's going to be fine. That's better, that's what we wanted. Alrighty, Now we can add tape to the ribbon. So we just want enough to go around. So we'll add tear and tape along here. If I can get it off my fingers. Okay, that should, there should be enough there, we'll see. Can always add a bit more. Alrighty, so get that down. So we just want this over the join. And because I want to make the most of the double-sided tape, because we've got it, we should use it, I am going to remove the backings. And that one as well. And that one. There we go. And get, oops, that wasn't what I wanted. Take your pick tools. Trying to get the adhesive off and pull the whole thing out. All right, let's stick this one down. So I'm going to use the liquid glue because I've got the embossed surface. And what is going on? Hi Dimity, nice to see you. How are you? I seem to be messing everything up tonight. One of those days. We all have those days. Alrighty, let's get this down. There we go, that's looking good. Then what I'm going to do, just to make it a bit easier, I'm going to sew this one, the Mossimoto, we're going to cut this one in half. That's alright, Dimity, sleep sounds like a very good idea. And we'll add some adhesive on the back here. And we just want to leave enough of just a little border, so it'll be top and bottom. So do the same thing down this side. So a little bit of border, and that is going to go there. We won't stick that down just yet. Need to decide on the placement of all our pieces. Some people are really good at just chucking it all down wherever. I kind of need to plan it out first. Work out roughly where it's going and then stick it all down. So that one's going to go there, that one will go about there, that one about there, and then that will sit somewhere around, roughly around there. It's a little bit difficult when they all move around, but you know, just a rough guide to start. So I think that's about right. So I'm going to just move these out of the way slightly. This one is the first to go down, and so this is the one that I do recommend using adhesive sheets if you can. Otherwise you've got lots of thin little bits, and I don't know if it's a climate thing, but I find if I don't put enough adhesive on in enough spots, it just does not stick properly, and then it bugs me. So I'm sure it's quite dull to watch, but I like my stuff to stick properly. So and I forgot to use adhesive sheets, which is why I'm reminding you, so that you don't forget, hopefully. Alrighty, so that one is going down first, and then we are going with this one. This one's a bit easier because there's not so many open spots, so you can just whack it a bit down. Bit up the top, even though most of that's probably going to end up on my fingers. Alrighty. So that is going, so that one goes up fairly high for this one. I think that should do. And then these ones are a bit easier, they're a bit quicker. That one's going there. That one is going about there. And you can pop some of these up on dimensionals too if you want them to sit up even higher. The sentiment I am going to put up on dimensionals, so I'm going to leave everything else flat or flattish because it's layered upon other pieces, but you can add dimensionals to some of the top ones if you want extra height. Now I'm just going to move this one up slightly because the sentiment needs to come up a bit more. That's pretty good, I think. I'm happy with that. And then let's add dimensionals to this one. Go with a mix of the large ones and the small ones. Oops. That should do it. Alrighty. And we pop that one down just a little up from the bottom, very small amount up. Alrighty, then I'm using 2 lots of embellishments for this one. Got the brushed brass butterflies. It's actually the last 2 in this pack. I do have another pack, but the final two in this pack. And I should probably put the lid on my glue before it ends up everywhere. So let's get one of those over there and the other one up there. And then the other ones are the muted palette dots. So I'm going to use one of the large Mossy Meadow ones there, and then a couple of the small ones. So going one over there and one about there. And no insert for this one because it's a white card base, but if you wanted to, you could always add an insert matted on another layer of either coloured cardstock or designer series paper if you wanted to add that to it. But that is the second one. So it's pretty quick and easy once you do all the stamping and die cutting. It's pretty quick to put together. All right, so on to the final one. So this one, originally I was going to go all blues, and so I've got a mix of different blues in there, but then as I was putting it together I decided it needed something. It just needed a pop of colour, so I added the Berry Burst, and I've used, so this is where the two-tone cardstock is really, really good. These two, and I'll bring it up a bit closer so you can hopefully see the difference in the colours, but that's actually the same piece of cardstock. So it's Secret Sea, that's the darker side, and that is the lighter side. So really useful to have just, you know, one pack of cardstock, but you've got multiple colours and you can just use whichever side you prefer and use a mix. And once I find my kit for this one, here we go. So I got lots of, we're not putting all these pieces on. You are not going to have to sit and watch me adhere all these. I may have stamped and die cut a few pieces. I was just playing around, trying to decide what was going to look best. So Misty Moonlight card base, some Secret Sea. This is the two-tone. So you can use whichever side you prefer for this one. I'm using the darker side. Basic white textured notes die, so that's going to sit on there. Some DSP. This is the Peaceful Garden DSP from the August or September to December mini catalogue, so the Christmas one. So I'm using that one with some cloud cover. We have some basic white for the sentiment and the insert, and then let's see which pieces do we need, because we don't need all of these. I do need these two. I need the Berry Burst, and I need that one and that one, and I think these ones can be saved for something else. Gonna have to come up with something else for those pieces. Let's put those away before I lose them. All right. And I need to make sure I actually add twine to this one, because I will forget. But let's do the stamping. Oh, and I forgot. we are going to add, this is my container of daubers, and I think I must have used Misty Moonlight for this one because I don't think I've done one in Secret Sea just yet. Doesn't look like it, so it must have been Misty Moonlight. I'm pretty sure it was. Now you can use Misty Moonlight or Secret Sea for the sentiment. What did I use? I'm not sure. I'm going to use Misty Moonlight because it's in front of me. Oh, that's right. I need to replace that. I might. Do I have Secret Sea in front of me? Oh, I do. I'm still going to use Misty Moonlight for the dauber, but to stamp, because that ink pad, it needs to be replaced. So let's stamp up. Stamp up. I said that the other day. Ink up. In Secret Sea. There we go. And then we are just going to ink around the edge of the cardstock with the Misty Moonlight, and you could do this with Secret Sea as well. I just wanted one that was not quite as dark, but it would still absolutely work, because we just want enough to just give it a bit of a coloured border. That's it. Nothing more. I think that should be enough. Let's just make sure it's visible enough from everywhere. I think that's pretty good. That should be plenty. Yep, that'll do. That's enough. Alright, so let's put that to the side for the moment, and let's adhere these together. I'm going to go green glue just because I'm going with a fairly fine border, so I find it a bit easier, but you can use whatever you have. Let's get that one down. And then we will add that to the card front. Go, and we can put that one to the side for the moment, just while we put the rest together. So we will stick this one down, and we're going to add all the pieces before we add the twine. Just so that we can make sure that we ideally have the twine over bottom of all the pieces. Now, let's see, we have, so this one's actually going to sit, that one's going to be right at the back, that one is going up near the corner, and we just need to be careful when we adhere everything that we factor in that some pieces are going to overhang slightly, and then that one will sit in the middle, but we want everything a bit further down except these ones because these sit higher up. I'm just wondering if I am missing a piece, or is it just, nope, I'm not. It just feels like I am. It'll just be the way it's laid out. So that's fine, I think. Alright, so that should be good. Let's get, and apologies, I do not have adhesive sheets on any of these, and a lot of them are the very fine ones, so apologies that you're going to have to sit and watch me adhere these, but hopefully that will convince you why you need to buy adhesive sheets for dies like this. It's just so much quicker and easier, less messy too. And this one, now this one is fine in that it's not going to overhang, or at least it shouldn't. So I don't have to worry too much about which parts do and don't have adhesive. It's a bit much there. Alrighty, that should just about. The other option for adhesive for these, if you don't have adhesive sheets, is the sponge dauber. So if you get your silicone mat and a dauber, make sure it's a dauber that you only use for adhesive. Don't use it for ink as well. Put some ink on your silicone mat and then use that to sort of dab on the adhesive where you need it. It's very, very useful for fine pieces like this, and also for vellum. When you need to add adhesive to vellum, it's a very handy technique. And it's also good for this sort of stuff because you can do it a lot quicker. Just make sure you keep that dauber just for your ink. Not for your ink, your adhesive. I'm really messing up my words tonight. That's going to have to do, and of course I forgot that some parts of this are going to overhang, but I think it should be okay. And I've always got the can't even think of the name, embossing buddy trick, but we are good with that one. Now this one, let's actually think about it. There's only a small bit there that overhangs, and I'm probably not going to put adhesive there anyway because it's a super fine one, and it'll be fine without it. So that's all good. That's plenty. That can go down there, and then this one is going, well, roughly up the middle. Alrighty. There we go, that's that. Now we just need to add the linen thread. So I'm going to wrap this around a few times. And once I'm reasonably happy, that's going to sit about there. I'm going to flip it over so I can tape down the back just so it doesn't move so much. Just make sure you've got it in the right spot or where you want it before you start taping it down, just in case. And then we'll add a glue dot underneath where the knot and bow are going to go. We'll get it under all the pieces, and then they can all sit nicely in that glue dot. It also helps to cover the glue dot. And just tidy this up a bit. I think that's good enough. Trim this down. Trim the other end. So we want it sitting about there. There we go. Probably should have had it slightly higher up. Let's try and adjust that just a little. Or we can we get this one down? No. Let's move this up ever so slightly, just so it is sitting over the bottom of the front leaf. And we can adjust that slightly. You've still got a little bit of room that you can move with the sides even when you've stuck it down at the back, so we can adjust that. That's not a problem. And I think that's good enough. Might just trim that tiny bit. And we'll just trim that down just a touch more. There we go. All good. Alrighty. Now we just need to bring this back in. Let's move some of this out of the way. Now, if you wanted to, you could pop this one up on dimensionals. I'm going to keep it flat. And we'll just take the backings off there so we can make the most of that adhesive. And Now I'm just going to put this down here just to make sure that I have enough space for it. I don't want to put this down too low and not have room for my sentiment. So let's line that up. There we go. Straighten those out. And then we'll just grab some dimensionals for this one. One more. There we go. And we'll just try and tuck these out of the way while we get the sentiment down, just so we don't end up getting them stuck underneath. And there's that one, and then all we need, oh, two things. We need the insert. Let's do that. Hi Renee, how are you? Nice to see you. And get that down, and now we can do the embellishment. So I am using the Hues of Blues flowers. So this is from the same suite that the paper is from, the Peaceful Garden suite, from the, well, Christmas essentially mini, the September to December, or August to December, something till December. But it's still current. Actually, that's too big, I think. We need this little one. So this one, the paper and the embellishments are still current and available. I'm going to use a mix of colors, or shades, well, colors, and sizes for this one. Another little one over the eye, and I think that is it. How many have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. Alrighty. And there we go, that is the third card. So let me just bring everything back in. Alrighty, so these, once I get them to stop moving, these are the 3 cards for this week's class. You have until the end of Saturday night to get your orders in if you want the class kit. So remember, it's a minimum order of $75 or more before shipping and after stamp and rewards redemption, and Australia only. I can only ship within Australia. And that is it for this week. Remember, Friday night, the Funfold Friday class will go up, so that'll be on both Facebook and YouTube. The recipe card for last week's Thursday Tech will be in tomorrow's email, so make sure you're on my email list to get that, and also next week for the Funfold Friday recipe card. And next week's class is the Cute as a Bug suite. So if you saw my mini catalogue launch, I did show that suite then. So that is what we will be using next week. Alrighty, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the projects. Hope you have a great week. Until next time, happy crafting. Bye.